I do from Saudi Arabia.
Where to do? Somebody.
If you tell your names also.
You're in the army? What do you mean, just enough? Is it enough? She's in the army?
Khalifatul.
किथों दे हो तुसी पिछों
जलंधर
That's my son
So we have met all of you before, haven't we? The name of the time. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Your introduction.
Professor head of the Muhimbili Medical Center.
Very pleased to meet you. Thank you for coming. You're
my wife.
How do you do? تفضل Please be seated. Thank you. And it's such a great
كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون ومثل كلمة خبيثة كشجرة خبيثة اجتثت من فوق الأرض من يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ويضل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء صدق الله العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of Tanzania Ahmadiyya community, I have the honor and privilege to welcome Your Holiness to Tanzania. Our hearts are filled with great joy. We bow in humility in front of our Creator Allah for fulfilling our long-cherished dream of seeing you, our spiritual father. From the bottom of our hearts, we say welcome to Tanzania. Karibu sana. Distinguished guests, we are fortunate tonight to have with us here the spiritual head of Ahmadiyya community. Under his dynamic leadership, our community has made a sure and considerable progress. His guidance and care for us has enabled us to perform our duties to our Creator and mankind. We thank Allah for giving us a wise leader. Your Holiness, our country is a very fortunate indeed. There is a complete freedom of worship. People of different religions and tribes live in harmony and understanding. There are about 125,000 Tanzanians. And by the grace of Allah, there is complete unity and friendship throughout. The atmosphere in this room is the education and confirmation of the state. The Holiness.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my privilege to find myself among you this evening, and I am so deeply grateful to you for your presence on this occasion, for your sacrifice of your precious time to come to meet me and give me an opportunity to discuss with you certain aspects of common human interests and to sit among you to answer any questions which you may like to ask. But before that, I should like to say a a word of thanks to the Vice President of the Ahmadiyya, Vice Ali of the Ahmadiyya community in Tanzania, for his kind words of welcome. He mentioned, among other things, certain difficulties which this particular country, Tanzania, is facing nowadays, which other country is not facing difficulties today in this world of turmoil and lack of trust. So Tanzania also has her own problems, and I am quite hopeful and confident that with the stride, on the stride, it will gradually resolve these problems and get over them in time. Nations today, particularly the third world nations, have a lot to learn from their experiences. No man is perfect, no leadership is perfect. What is needed in man is sincerity and devotion and honesty of purpose. As such, political leaders may make some mistakes, but if those mistakes are committed in earnest, not to commit mistakes, but to do something good for the people. And in that process, mistakes are committed. Such mistakes are to be pardoned, as long as the leadership is ready to revise the policy, learning their lesson from experience, and change things as best as they consider for the country. We have such examples in the life of Maudu'un, for instance, who indeed was a failure in many of his attempts to revolutionize the society and achieve things overnight which no nation can ever achieve overnight. What came of his industrial revolution, what became of his green revolution, all are fresh in our memory because they are events of recent history. So China learned their lesson from that and went on reframing and reforming the policies on the passage to progress, on the path to progress. So Tanzania also has had difficult times and difficult experiments. And all I hope and pray for you is that you would learn your lessons from those experiments and continue to reform and improve the standard of the common life, standard of life of the common man. That is one thing which I want to say, and after that I should like to wait for you to ask anything. Of her identity. What we are doing by way of achieving, making progress in certain economic or educational fields, etc., are apparently step forwards. But what in reality is happening is to be ascertained and analyzed in a detached way. So I, being a detached student, uninvolved student of African affairs, I could draw some conclusions which unfortunately I thought were not drawn by some of the leadership of countries which I have visited before. What progress we are making is only towards supporting an artificial standard of life of a small section of African society. And the benefit is not fully shared or even partially shared by the grassroots, which are the people, which are the sons of the soil. Everywhere in Africa, most unfortunately, I have discovered a smaller Africa being carved out of that historical Africa, which indeed is Africa itself. And this carved out Africa is a bit artificial to me, something foreign and alien to the African way of life. The result is that all the economy, all the progress, all the hectic activity in the field of development in industry, in trade and financial, international financial aid and things are all diverted to sustain and maintain this smaller section of Africa. And as far as the masses are concerned, they are generally forgotten. We draw very little benefit out of that. Only those who rise and join this elite representation of Africa, they have to change their way of life. They have to change their attitude towards all that concerns them before they can become a part and parcel of that Africa which draws all the benefits of progress. That is what I observed in Ivory Coast. A small Paris I found developing around the capital, but it had not penetrated deeper into the African bush. And I found Africa living in two different ages, one belonging to many thousands years in the past and one belonging to the present. The same thing I observed in Nigeria. I saw life in Lagos so very different from the life elsewhere in Nigeria that I was deeply shocked. You will be surprised perhaps to learn that I discovered more Mercedes in Lagos than I ever encountered in any city of Germany where Mercedes are produced. And there is no exaggeration. It is impossible for you to find more number of Mercedes anywhere on earth. Perhaps I don't know what is happening in oil-rich countries, but of Lagos I can certainly tell you, this was the case. And similar things are happening. I don't want to enlarge much upon it, but the net outcome of my study, my personal study, is this, that we are making progress for the sake of only a few. And the majority is forgotten by us. The grassroots is receiving less water for its sustenance and maintenance than the artificially created orchards of Japanese style, of American style, of that style and that style. This is the reality. This is what a neutral observer cannot fail to discover here. So I am very much pained at finding this, and that has always been the subject of my discussions with leadership, be it political or bureaucratic or religious or other ethnical groups. I always discuss these things which I find and try to help them see things as I see them, clearly in a detached way, on humanitarian basis, as a religious leader should see things. And I always try to help them frame a policy which should be just based on true human justice and entirely devoted to the cause of the people themselves. As such, in the end, I must make it clear, I am not a believer in scientific socialism at all. I do not plead the cause of communism as such. I am all for human values. And I do not need Marxism to guide me as to what policy we should adopt in any kind of part of the world. I believe common sense is what is needed, wedded to sincerity in the heart. That is all that you need to lead your people and to serve your people. if you have the good of the people at your heart, if you are sensitive to their miseries, to suffering below you, if you are ready to share your comforts with them, and have common sense enough to deal with affairs of the state, that is all that you need. No foreign ideology is required by Africa today. In fact, foreign ideologies are going to lead you to destruction. So, one advice out of what I have understood of the things happening here would be to you, avoid polarization, avoid borrowing foreign ideologies. Get to the middle of the road with head downs. Determine the requirements of the people and try to pursue the goals which ultimately would improve the lot of the common masses. If you get dedicated to this objective, I assure you, you will have a long way to go. You have a long way to go, and you will go a long way in achievement of this noble objective. Otherwise, permitting yourself to be split in poles of left and right and this and that will lead you nowhere. Polarization is the worst enemy of man today. Polarization has been exploited for this particular end, to destroy powers of great people and great nations. To decide the fate of Germany, it was Churchill who suggested to President Roosevelt and Stalin, both of them, that Germany is such a powerful country, is a power machine. It is impossible to contain Germany. Do whatever you may please. We have had experiences twice with Germany. First World War, the Second World War. Do whatever you may, we will not be able to contain Germany. The only answer is to bifurcate it, divide it, split it in the middle, and give it over to the opposing ideologies. That is what Churchill wrote in his great history of the Second World War. And that is exactly what happened. You visit Germany today. I visited both East and West, and one is shocked to learn and to see with one's own eyes that they are opposed to each other. German people split right in the middle, fearing German, fearing the German. East fearing the West and West fearing the East. And at any call for war, they will begin to destroy each other as best as they can. So this is the net result of polarization. What happens, what makes a magnet? If you study the scientific phenomenon of a magnet, then you will understand what happens, what new powers are given to iron, simple iron. All the atoms and molecules in iron are of course there in a set mass of iron, but they are generally polarized against each other, one facing the other, confronting each other and negating their mutual ultimate power to almost zero. So an ordinary piece of iron cannot reflect anything, it has no power, no force. But when you pass electricity around it, what you achieve is simply this, that you align them in one direction. One stimuli is given to them. And when they are aligned in one direction, nothing extra mass is added to that piece of iron in which you are experimenting. Only looking in one direction, getting aligned, getting well ordered, creates a very special power into that piece of iron, erstwhile iron, and turns it into magnet. All the development you see in the world today owes itself to just this discovery. Now if the dead matter, the dead particles, can gain so much power just sheerly for the reason of being aligned, imagine what would happen to human beings, to nations, to great people on earth, if they become aligned, if they begin to see in one direction, all of them. That is what is not happening in Africa, unfortunately. That is what the great world powers are not permitting to happen in Africa. What they're doing is, they want to keep you involved, looking at each other, confronting each other, fearing each other. Only recently I have been to Uganda, and this is what I told them. I said, what are you doing to yourself? Gone are the days when you used to fear foreigners and their influences. Now every Ugandan is afraid of every other Ugandan. That's what we have come to. So this is polarization which ultimately destroys every power, every source of energy in every people of the world where it gets itself rooted. So please join hands to carve one Africa. Not only one Tanzania. We need Africa to be united. That is my message to you. Because even if Tanzania is united, let's say, against Kenya, against Uganda, against some other countries of Africa, but that result will again be zero. You will be trying your power against each other. So go for Pan-Africanism in real love and understanding of each other. Love for each other and understanding of each other. Create that unity, a purpose, which can only be created by genuine, sincere love of each other, with deep regard for each other's respect and sensitivities. So I do hope with this short message, which I have delivered to you in earnest and in all sincerity, you will have some food for thought. And even if I depart, you will go on contemplating these things which I have suggested most of you. With that, I request you, in the end, to ask any question if you may please. As far as my time is concerned, don't worry about my time, it's yours. But do have some consideration for other guests, so do not prolong it unnecessarily too much, because some other guests, out of their kindness, may not express their desire to be, and they may not show their uneasiness at being held too long out of their courtesy. So only have consideration for that. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, I thoroughly enjoy such sessions of frank question answer. So it seems perhaps nobody has anything to say. Or shall we wait a few minutes more?
Taifa lenye nguvu sana. Akasema kwamba kama tunataka kuishinda Ujerumani na kuiangamiza kabisa na kuifanya isiwe na nguvu tena, ni lazima tuigawanye katika makundi mawili ambayo yanapingana katika mwelekeo wa kisiasa. Na ndivyo hivyo vilivyotokea, na matokeo yamekuwa kwamba leo Ujerumani imegawanyika katika sehemu mbili ambazo zinachukiana sana. Khalifa mtukufu anasema alielekea sehemu za huko Ujerumani ya magharibi na mashariki pia, akashikishwa sana na hali ile ambayo ilikuwa kule kwa Mjerumani vile mliona. Anasema wakati wote Mjerumani wa mashariki anaweza kuwa yuko tayari kupigana na Mjerumani wa magharibi, na anasema kwamba hali hii sasa ndio nchi za kigeni, mataifa makubwa yanaitumia Afrika. Akatoa mfano kwamba alipokwenda Uganda akakuta kwamba hapo zamani Waganda walikuwa wanaogopa sana wageni, lakini siku hizi imekuwa kwamba Mganda anaogopa Mganda mwenyewe. Kwa hiyo ametoa nasaha kwamba kama tunataka tupate maendeleo ya kweli na kuondokewa na matatizo yetu yanayotukabili, ni lazima tupendane na tuwe kitu kimoja katika lengo moja, na akawashawishi, akawanasihi viongozi wetu kwamba lazima